What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys, as I said I would, my Hitman Holla versus Miss Hustle bar for bar review. Large scale grudge match, right? One of the, probably, if not the biggest intergender grudge match ever. It's got to be up there in the conversation. Off the top of my head, I'd probably say it is number one. Battle of the performer hierarchy. So many different things going into this battle, and it ended up being a very close battle. I know I got some pushback for that. Miss Hustle wasn't exactly happy with my call. She ended up showing, you know what I'm saying? We found some mutual understanding there on the respect that I have for her craft. But I did have Hitman 2-1 watching it live on the pay-per-view. And of course, with battles that are this important, this close, I'm going to go back, I'm going to do my due diligence and give you guys the detailed breakdown for my rewatch. But with that being said, let's get right in the first round. So the battle starts out on Hitman Holla, and he starts out, and there's a lot of little details of counter writing in this battle, them kind of trying to mention angles after, kind of having a dialogue within the battle. So he actually brings up Cinnamon before anyone. His opener is about Cinnamon, talking about how they're engaged now, which of course will be a topic later in Miss Hustle's second, and says, well, I brought the 12 just in case I have to get engaged again. I thought it was cool. It wasn't crazy. From there, he has this bar, which was so funny. I know y'all don't want me to be a sexist. There's no other T in the middle there, Hitman Holla. I thought that was funny, but it led up to the, y'all know I don't give a fuck about her being abroad. If I take this flight, it's going to be domestic. Obviously, the whole kind of like flying little scheme there. I like the bar. Starts comparing their resume a bit. They both battled rocked. We both stood in front of Farrah, but only one of us hit the floor. I thought that was dope. Talking about the Hustle and Farrah fight back in the day. I did not like, well, if we had one movie to call that, it would have been Hustle and Flow. I didn't like that much. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't care for that bar too much. The Players Club, Diamond beat up her cousin. It's no bitch Ebony that knows how to fight. That was actually pretty fire too. I didn't like the different type of hustle concept, and this is kind of the example of where I do like the people that do get frustrated with some of Hitman's material. There is examples of that, you know, particularly in this first round where he has the Hustle and Flow bar, a little bit overused. We've heard a lot of Hustle and Flow bars, especially versus Miss Hustle. And then the different type of hustle, picking him up 94 feet, that's a different type of hustle. Like, I get it. And he kind of has a biggie concept I talked about in the recap, the first recap, and the second where he does the same thing. The repeating, I just didn't care for it too much. You know what I'm saying? Brings up that she has ghostwriters for like a brief second for a prep bar, and then a bar that some people told me they don't like. I think the bar is fire. You talk about how she's not married. You out here talking about all these sweepers, but can't get somebody to jump the broom, which I believe is like an old like wedding tradition. Motherfuckers would jump over the broom at a wedding. But I thought that was fire. Like, I thought it was creative. I hadn't heard of like that being used. Like that concept being used before. I didn't think it was the most complex, craziest bar in the world. I just thought it was clever and delivered well. Good angle punch. So probably the best bar of his first round, or at least the conversation. If I put Ebony's face on this magazine, what's the issue? Ebony magazine, you know, magazines have issues. I thought that was fire. Where is 40? I like bitches that choke all night. That was just funny as fuck. 40 catching a crazy stray. I run this league and I'm battling on the card copy machine. I'm showing you how to double your paper. So you asking me who's your big homie. You're looking at him like he's his own big homie. That was a little bit of a long lead up into that, but I get where he was going. The creator of performance, I took it and raised you. Reason your Cash App ringing. I paid you. The whole pocket, kind of like, I would say little boy in her. I guess it's like little girl in her, but just showing like a little bit of a difference there in kind of stature. I like that pocket he got into. It kind of touched on a few angles, like real quick at the end, character breakdown style. You turning your back on Remy. You never have friends because of the way that you do other bitches. So if you look at it in totality, he does have a couple misses in there that break it up. Like, if you didn't like some of those bars, or you thought he was overly simplistic, right? The critiques that I've heard, it does get but overall, there's a lot of good material, like solid material in the first. I did not think at all that Hitman Holla had a bad first round, but then Hustle goes in the first, and this is like a career round for Miss Hustle, truth be told. Talk about this battle has been a long time coming. He took a honey pack. I thought that was a pretty crazy opener. Speaking on her being blood, you could see first battle flagging my content like YouTube. I like that. 357 for one night stand like IKEA. That was a haymaker, and that just starts kind of a run right here. Bullet goes straight. He tried to block it. Bullet goes straight through his hand like a Madden glitch. The Kaepernick performance bar. Then I take a knee in ball game like Kaepernick. Another haymaker, and even the Kaepernick reference, we've heard many before, but the way it was performed, it was like perfection. This is a battle of performers. So when you're landing a performance bar like that, it almost is going to hit double because of the matchup and what's being emphasized from both of you. So she got the IKEA nightstand haymaker, Kaepernick haymaker. Then you won't be blood on wilding out because of the kids. You're trying to switch up your image, and I acknowledge it, but stop trying to beat a blood type and go be positive, like the be positive blood type. That was insane. That is honestly going to go down as one of like the bigger bars of Miss Hustle's career altogether. The way it was delivered, the crowd reaction to it, really how good it's structured. It's a great bar, pen to paper. So that's like 3 humongous haymakers. Looking for Holla location like Marco Polo, another involving someone in the crowd, performance bar. That was a haymaker. She remixes it too, which is kind of, you know what I'm saying, just using, I don't like the remix, but of course when it's ironically used against Hitman, almost to like make fun of it, and the momentum that she had, she really couldn't do anything wrong by that point. You know what I'm saying? Face blown off, J. Cole, no features. Thought that was cool. I'm just waiting to drop you like Netflix. Obviously, the show You on Netflix. I thought that was dope. I'm putting anyone down. Like when Jobs asked for a reference, that was fire. Ghost Gun, it's man-made. Like Jeffrey from Fresh Prince. She was just wildin'. Like, she's outperforming him in the first round. She's definitely reaching higher peaks, just haymakers, like out-contenting him, out-rapping him. I thought Hitman had a good first, but Hustle had a, like, avalanche first round. It is still pretty undeniably to me 1-0 clear Miss Hustle after 1. So now it's second round, back on Hitman Holla. He actually has a rebuttal to start his second. He rebuttals at the top of both of these last rounds. If you take a knee, bet you won't play another game. I thought that was cool. The Biggie scheme, which I mentioned before, I did not like this kind of repeater scheme, and you can kind of tell Hitman like rushed through the last couple references because the crowd wasn't rocking with it. It's just one of those things that takes some space. Like earlier, the Hustle and Flow bar by Hitman, I didn't like it, but it kind of just like doesn't score. It's how you get a dry spot, right? Like it's like, okay, just keep going. That's a bar where it's like taking away from your momentum. It's kind of a minus. So didn't like the Biggie scheme at all, but then he gets in some stuff I really like from this round. You have all these men that'll write for you, but none of them that won't do right by you. Fire. And simple as well, but simple can be fire if done the right way. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was extremely hard-hitting. You never find a man that'll bring shit to the table because you always laying on top of it. So still going at, like, morals of her womanhood. I thought that was a good bar. Fake bodies don't deserve to die from natural causes. I thought that was fire. And this is all very simple. There's not really wordplay to it, anything like that, but I thought it was hitting pretty heavy. And then the second half of Hitman's second is really mostly based in the flow pockets and the rapping itself. And this is something he did great in his first round versus Easy. In the Geechee battle, the Ill Will battle, I thought was maybe the biggest reason that he won. It's like the actual rapping from Hitman. People get it as pen a lot, which I think goes more to like the intricacy in terms of wordplay, like the creativity and punchlines. But rapping, especially in the multis that he does and the different flows he switches in, that's tough. Like, that's hard to write out and structure so you can do it clean. All the syllables got to line up. I thought he did a great job of that in the second half of his second. He had the Victor Sweet bar out of it. This was part of a bigger pocket, but the only thing hidden around me is animosity. I like that one. She's tall, should have been ballin', why didn't you put her in the Jim Jones? So the Jim Jones bar is fire by itself, but the momentum that he built with the pockets up to that, I think makes it like a haymaker. And I think that's really what describes its momentum rapping all through the second half of Hitman's second. And then he ends with, how are you going to brag about being the first lady of a company that I made rich, which was also fire. So this round, very like angling, which I always say is one of Hitman's biggest strong suits, and very simple in terms of the bars, but like hard hitting. They're all going to write for you, but no one does right by you. They can't bring shit to the table because you're always on top of it. Fake body isn't deserved to die from natural cause. He's attacking a lot of different topics here. You can't brag about being first lady of a company that I built up. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things. I really liked Hitman Holla the second round, especially appreciated it more in the rewatch. And then Hustle goes to the second with an angle-centric round of her own, and this one is all cinnamon angles. I talked about this live, and this is where kind of like I disagreed with some people. One of the biggest things I disagreed with in the battle. Let's talk about some of the bars first. You were, after she got shot, you were on live with all these celebrities. You should have used time with Cinnamon like a recipe. I thought that was cool. And then the ring camera bar is what I want to talk about, where she's like, we know you let it ring, but you should have done something when you seen them on that ring camera. Cause I think you saw ring camera footage of people invading the home, right? So my thing is, it reminded me a lot of the last two kind of iterations of, you had Easy, the headshot, but you won't marry her, crazy, all-time bar. Then Geechee battles Hitman, and he has the whole, you're telling me she got on one knee and let it ring, but you wouldn't get on, like, one knee and let it ring in a proposal. I just thought it was super similar to what Geechee did. It's like the third iteration of the angle we heard in a row, and it's not that, like, there's always reused angles, but you have to put your own creative spin on it. Like, it gets harder for the next person to do it at the highest level, but it's possible. And she has a bar here that I like in a second, but like the ring camera bar is an example of me getting a bit bored with at least this version of the angle. You know what I'm saying? The way that she executed it. But after that, she said you only married her because of the Easy bar, right? Lying about why you were taking that knee like Tank Davis. That was fire. And I just thought more of that. Like, that's great. The ring camera bar, not good execution of the angle. The Tank Davis bar, super fire. From there, you said, ain't nobody playing games with Hitman. Well, they robbed you and shot your bitch. Doesn't sound like they were playing to me. I thought that was extremely disrespectful, but also like dope. And then from there, gets into another angle about the leaked sex tape of Hitman and Cinnamon. And then kind of has a moment talking to Cinnamon in the crowd, which led up to the Pussy Lips on Live Lil Boosie bar, which I thought was cool. And then she is the this guy knows she's the reason she's getting her pussy checked out, which I thought was like, okay, gynecologist. But overall, I didn't love this second round. I just thought that she used a bunch of those cinnamon angles. It reminded me so much of what I believe was the second round from Geechee Gotti versus Hitman, which was also like a litany. I remember calling it a wife off. It was a litany of cinnamon angles, and I felt the same way in Hustle's second, and it's just not even like a bad round, but it's the weakest version of these angles I've heard since they came out, and for me, ran a little bit dry in the second. I just kind of preferred some of the attacks that Hitman took, so I still, and maybe even a little bit more confidently, I still think it's a debatable round. If someone has Hustle 2-0 by this point, I'm not mad, but I still edged Hitman that second round and had it 1-1 going into the third and final round. And that third round, of course, starts again on Hitman Holla, and like I said, he's got a rebuttal in the third, to one of the cinnamon angles, the sex tape angle specifically, and says, I would rather have 1,000 people tell me what it looked like instead of 1,000 tell me what it feels like. Obviously, attacking Miss Hustle for being a hoe, inferring that she slept with 1,000 people. How about neither? How about neither? Not 1K looked or 1K feels like. I do understand the logic value he was trying to get at Miss Hustle. Just a little bit of food for thought. It doesn't have to be either, right? So that was the original one there. Then you have, it's a difference between me having the most top tier kills versus her having the most top tier bodies. A little bit of clever play, still referring to her being a hoe there. And then he gets into what's his big angle for the third, and that is the homeless angle. Talked about how Miss Hustle got evicted and she was homeless. You always wearing Gucci and Prada this, but when you got evicted, was that your daughter proud of that? I thought that was solid. And he really spent a long time in the homeless angle. And the same way I thought that Hustle's second drags out a bit, I do think it gets to a point the same way with this one, where he has some good bars out of it. When you were telling me to come outside, I thought you wanted to battle. You just wanted me to visit you. I thought that was funny. I would send you to God, but that's still a gated community. That's probably the best bar he had out of that whole angle. I like that a lot. You signed a Jim Jones, Snoop. You signed everything but Elise. I thought that was kind of funny. But he had a couple more in there where it really went on more on the comedy side. I thought he joked probably a little bit too much in the third. My lines over the top, like Chinese words. I think he meant Chinese subtitles. But it was all right. And then pockets, right? Like that third round, even the way he ended, he kind of freestyled at the end. Definitely his weakest round of the battle. But I thought it was an okay round from Hitman. I thought it was a beatable round for sure, but I thought it was okay. Step down from his second and his first, in my opinion. And then Hustle goes in the third, and she starts out by addressing Remy Ma. And I think Hitman had mentioned it a little in the first. I think she expected the way that her and Remy fell out to be a much bigger angle from Hitman. So she has like a pretty good amount in the beginning of this round speaking on the Remy situation, which I think would have been smart counter writing, but that angle really wasn't there that much. So I'm not going to say like it hits completely flat, but it's a little like, what is she addressing here? Like, it kind of, the topic feels like it comes out of nowhere. Talk about how that was her idol, about how their friendship fell through because of both sides. Clean kills, a hitman ain't supposed to be messy. I actually thought it was clever. I'm the reason they clicked on Chrome. You can Google that, so it kind of goes back to the Remy situation real quick. And watch, hit them and watch Holla days off like a work schedule. I thought that was clever. I don't care where halitosis is. I got something meant for that. Halitosis. I thought that was cool. The autocorrect, should have checked. You don't hold your autocorrect. Why don't you check verb? I thought that was cool. So this is like more of like a punch round really for the first half. Who got better veneers? Now let's compare choppas. I actually thought that was fire. And then she kind of has this personal life bit of like this like B-Rabbit moment, you know what I'm saying? She literally ends it with, tell these people something they don't know about me, and she speaks on, I really chose blood over blood, choosing her gang over her family, addressed what you know about being homeless, so kind of validates, you know what I'm saying, this third round angle about the homeless thing, even though I felt like he was referring to like modern day. I think she was just talking like in general across her life, but it still ends up hitting a bit. You were sheltered, not in shelters. So kind of like a comparison to Hitman. You had two parents. You had it easy compared to me. I really went through the struggle. And I didn't think it was bad, kind of reflected on the personal life in the biggest battle of your career. I don't hate it. I didn't think it was executed over the top. And I kind of think that Miss Hustle's third is her weakest round as well. But definitely competes and ends kind of that whole segment with tell these people something they don't know about me. So both of their thirds are their weakest rounds of the battle, in my opinion. I think I would argue both of their firsts were their best round. Both of their seconds were their second best, and then they cut. So it's kind of like a downhill written battle, but even these thirds aren't like bad. They're just okay rounds. And I still think that this round is debatable. So I'm holding that kind of sentiment where Hustle got the first clear and the last two were debatable. So I'm kind of understanding if it's two debatable rounds and there's only one clear round that goes to a person, you're going to have a lot of people that are see the battler winning over the totality, not round by round, but overall kind of having the better performance. So I understand the people that passionately got Miss Hustle winning, but I do still edge Hitman this third round, even though he ran on the homeless angle just a little bit too long. I still think he had some good material out of it. Well, I thought Hustle went punch-wise the first half, but it was some of her more common, just standard punches of the battle. She spent a lot of time in that Remy thing, and I just felt like that didn't really, predicting an angle that didn't exactly come to fruition to the point you needed to adjust it that much, and then kind of the whole personal life breakdown almost kind of validates the homeless angle, at least to an extent, right? Even if they're talking different time periods. So I'm not mad at anyone. It's a weird battle where I'm not mad at anyone. That gives Hustle all three. You could edge her the second, you could edge her the third, and have her winning the first clear. She was incredible. She brought a very worthwhile performance, a career high. We'll go in her highlight reel first round. She did exactly what she was supposed to do, but I still just found myself liking Hitman's strategy a bit more and edging him the second and the third round of the battle. For me, still giving Hitman Holla the battle 2-1 in what is a tightly contested, good competitive grudge match. And a lot of grudge matches don't turn out that way. Usually they're lopsided. So shout out to both battlers for promoing this up pretty big. I thought they did. And Miss Hustle, granted she missed the face-off. She seems to always miss her face-offs, but she came through, Hitman came through, and I definitely think the main event lived up to its potential. But that is my full review here for Hitman Holla versus Miss Hustle. I would love to hear your guys' opinions. I know we already talked about it a bit on the recap, but this is really into the details on the bar. So where do you agree with me or disagree with me on how I assessed it? Do you prefer, Hustle's approaches here in the second and third? Do you give her the battle? Or do you agree with me, thought that Hitman, after going down, he had a good round, and he still kind of got smoked in the first, so it looked like it could be bad early. But kind of similar to Geechee and Hitman, where I thought Hitman had a good first and got smoked by Geechee's first early. Veteran battle rappers keep poise, keep composure. I thought that's what he did here. And I thought he did enough to kind of almost have like a comeback W in a sense after going down 1-0 early like that. But like I said, who do you guys got? What do you think about the quality of the battle? And then who do you want to see each of them battle next? With Hustle, she pretty much immediately went and called out Easy. I'm not mad at that, of course. And with her, I see more people after a battle like that being like, Hustle is the best. Like, some think Hustle's the best female battle rapper ever. We need the Hustle and Jazz rematch. Rematches don't always make sense, but this is one where they are still number one and number two, top of the sport, however you chop it, a decade later after the first one. The first one, although there was a clear winner with Jazz, isn't good. They edited out chokes. It's a very weird fucking battle. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think that they could have a damn near a classic nowadays. They have so much to talk about angling-wise. They've gotten so much better punching-wise, pen-wise, and then the performance on the big stage. God forbid a battle happen like that in New York. I want Hustle versus Jazz rematch, but Hustle versus Easy, not mad at that either. And as for Hitman, New Jersey Twerk, Murder Mook, Loaded Lux, pick a mega match, and Hitman, I'm sure, is going to have another big one before the year is out. But it's been J Smo reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.